Hey y'all, today we'll be covering the Warlock in Dark and Darker. I will give you the best perks and skills, the best spells to use, what loadout to bring, what to buy from the merchants, and finally what you want to look for when you're buying stuff from the trade hall once you reach level 15. Starting off with our perks and skills, the first perk you want to take when you're level 1 is Torture Mastery. Curse of Pain inflicted upon enemies restores 1 health to the caster with each instance of damage dealt. This will allow you to heal early on and is very important for running the Warlock. Definitely run this perk. Next, Malice Will is increased by 10%. So what Will does, guys, is if you mouse over it up here, Will increases your spell power, it improves your buff/curse duration, and it improves your base magic resistance. So this means that the more Will you have, the longer your curses will last on people, which means more heals in turn. Next, you want to take Anti-Magic. Your magic resistance is increased by 15% except against divine magic. And finally, you want to take Dark Reflection. If you take damage while Dark Reflection is on cooldown, you reflect 10 dark magic damage to the attacker. I have heard that this one doesn't always work. Apparently, it might only work once, and the cooldown doesn't reset if you get hit by PvE. I'm not 100%, haven't done the testing on that, but that is what they have said. If you want to, you could take Immortal Lament, where casting spells will not take you below one health. This will make it so you can cast as many spells as you want. If you know, Warlocks, when they cast spells, they lose health depending on the spell. But it does decrease your spell power bonus by 5%, so you'll do less damage. So if you want to take that instead, it may be more useful. It's sort of up to you. Next, for your abilities or your skills, I usually take Blow of Corruption and Spell Memory. Blow of Corruption does the next physical attack deals 20 magical damage to the target and reduces their healing rate by 70%. So this is extremely strong, especially if you're going up against a fighter and you want to keep them from second winding, or a ranger where they can heal mid-fight. Really strong against anyone if you get this onto them early on. Especially if you do a headshot, it does scale 1.5, so it will do like 30 damage instead of 20. So you can do an extreme amount of damage with Blow of Corruption. However, when you're leveling up like from 1 to 5 and you have no longswords, you're not really going to hit people with Blow of Corruption. You may want to take Phantomize instead so you can run away, go through mobs. Basically, Phantomizes, you phase through melee attacks and projectiles, you increase movement speed by 10%. It reduces magical damage reduction by 50%. This means you take extra damage from other Warlocks, from Wizards. Definitely don't Phantomize to run up on a wizard. You're going to get hit by a fireball and get one-tapped. And during this period, you can only move and do not collide with other players or monsters. You also can't pull out a spell book, can't pull out your weapons. Be very careful. Phantomize can kill you more often than it can save you. So it's really niche, and I only use it starting out. Eventually, I switch to Blow of Corruption as soon as I can once I get my longsword. And then the other one you can take is Spell Memory. So for our spells, there's only 4, so you can't really, choose anything, but basically you're going to take Curse of Pain, Power of Sacrifice, Curse of Weakness, and Hellfire. Curse of Pain instantly deals 10 magic damage and then curses them. They receive a total of 10 magic damage distributed over 8 seconds. Power of Sacrifice curses the target with Sacrifice, where they lose 3 health per second, but it increases their strength by 15 for over 12 seconds. So, something important to know, Curse of Pain with this perk heals you. If you cast Power of Sacrifice after you cast a Curse of Pain on them, you'll get healed from the Power of Sacrifice as well, basically doubling your magical healing. I don't really have time to cast Curse of Weakness for the most part, but it does reduce the base stats of the enemy by 20%, which can be strong if you have time to get it out. And then finally, Hellfire. It summons the giant Hellfire, and basically it's just a big damaging blast. It moves really slowly, and it burns them for 60 magical damage per second if they stand into it. Basically, you can one-shot people if they stand in it, but it is so slow that it's pretty niche. So something to note, you can also heal from Curse of Pain if you put a Curse of Pain on them and you Hellfire. If the Hellfire goes through them, you'll heal from that as well. This is pretty useful when you are fighting the Cave Troll. So something to know, Hellfire can be used really usefully for pushing towards someone. If someone, like a ranger, is holding a hallway and you can't get past them, but they're in the circle and you gotta go down that hallway, cast a Hellfire down the hallway. It'll block their vision, and they'll be scared for sure. They don't want to stand in that. So you can move slowly behind the Hellfire. It will damage you, so don't run into it. It'll kill you real quick, but you can stand behind it, and that can be helpful if you're having trouble pushing down hallways towards rangers. All these, the Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice, have pretty low cast ranges, so you need to be pretty close to cast them. Additionally, if you hit like a goblin shield, it won't actually cast it on them, so make sure you aim for like the head or the legs or something to actually hit them. And if you miss your power of sacrifice, it'll hit you, causing you to lose 36 health, so that's really rough. Make sure you don't miss power of sacrifice. I barely ever use it in PvP, it's just not worth the risk, so definitely be careful when using that for sure. And other than that, I think that's about it for all the spells. Some people don't run spells at all, they actually run Phantomize and Blow of Corruption, but that's more of an advanced thing and you want to be pretty geared when you're doing that. Basically, you Phantomize up to people and then one tap them with Blow of Corruption if you're running like a halberd or a bardique or a really good longsword, something like that. But generally, I'd suggest having the spells, they're really useful, they allow you to heal up, and then Blow of Corruption, once you get slightly kitted out, you can start off with Phantomize them. So that should cover all our perks and spells, as we don't have any training to do. So let's go to our loadout. Oh, one last thing, you can level up extremely quickly with Hellfire. Just pull a bunch of mobs, Hellfire them all, it'll go through them, kill them all. Okay, so going to our loadout, as you can see, I have a bunch of stuff saved up in our inventory. Generally, as soon as you can, you want to get a longsword. I've been messing around with the falcon. I like the longsword more because it allows you to riposte, which really allows you to deal with other fighters, barbarians. It's really hard to deal with a barbarian if you're just running a falcon because they can basically two-shot you. And even with Blow of Corruption, you're not going to do enough damage with the falcon to kill them before they kill you. However, with riposte, you can block their attack and then kill them pretty quickly with your counter attack. So then for your casting thing, a base Warlock spawns in with a staff. Let's see if our alchemist has one. Yeah, the magic staffs cast extremely slowly. The crystal sword casts slowly. Then you have crystal balls, which are slightly faster, and spellbooks are the fastest. So as soon as you have some money and the alchemist is selling the gray spellbooks, stock up on as many as you can. As you can see, I basically have half an inventory full of them. They cast the fastest. You're definitely going to want to run a spellbook. Some people will run a falcon and a crystal ball together. I don't, because the crystal ball makes you lose 25 move speed, the falcon makes you lose 25 move speed, they're in the same slot, so you lose 50 move speed, which is even more than this longsword, which is only 40. You don't want to be that slow, especially when you're trying to catch up to people as a more melee warlock. So run a spellbook, it's only minus 10 move speed, run a longsword, one-shot people with it. And yeah, so you have two options for your helmet. Generally, you either have a shadow hood or a shadow mask. Shadow Mask is better, it's +1 to all attributes, and you don't lose any move speed. This only gives you 1 strength and a little bit more armor rating, but I wouldn't say that matters very much. Definitely go with the Shadow Mask when you can. Then you can buy gloves, worn outfits, and all that, and boots from the traders. So generally, I go to the leathersmith, we'll buy, so not those usually, but if there's gray, you can buy the leather leggings or heavy leather leggings if they're gray. And then you can buy a warden outfit, that's actually really good armor for what it is. Or a marauder, I guess, yeah, that one's white. You can buy the base gray marauder outfits if you want to give you 1 agility. And then you can buy leather gloves for the 1 agility. And then usually I don't buy boots. You can find them in barrels and crates pretty easily in the dungeon. Then obviously we would go to our weaponsmith, buy as many longswords as we want. I like the longsword a lot more than the falcon. I was testing back and forth, but I'd highly suggest using the longsword. There's a niche thing where you can use halberds or bardiques. They do a lot more damage, obviously 50 versus 34, and you can try to one-shot people, 50 damage plus the 30 from, or plus the 20 from Blow of Corruption, times the headshot multiplier can, one-shot a lot of classes. So you can definitely mess around with that and try to one-shot people. I find the longsword is better overall, but that is a fun thing you can do with your loadout. That should cover the spellbook, longsword, all your armor. Make sure you're buying heals once you have the money. Just buy like some of those and then buy some of the potions as well. Even though you can heal off mobs, you won't always be able to find mobs. And you generally always want to be full. Something I forgot to mention with the spells is they do cost health when you cast them, so you want to be getting that health back. It takes 4 health for the Curse of Pain, 3 health for the Power Sacrifice, and so on. Hellfire, obviously pretty expensive health-wise. Let's see, that should be about it. If you are going for rings and pendants, if you get that far, I'd say agility is really, really nice because it allows you to move faster. So yeah, it increases how fast your character attacks and moves. So highly suggest getting agility, and then also if you can, strength allows you to increase your HP and physical power as well. The like actual like blue enchantments that you're specifically looking for, is healing power is really strong. You can do weapon damage or magical damage. I mean, those are fine, but and +1 all attributes, obviously always a great affix. But if you can get plus magical healing power, you will start healing more than just 1 per tick or 1 health per tick of Curse of Pain, and you can really out heal any enemy damage if you get if you stack a lot of magical healing power. I don't think I have any right now. Yeah, I don't have any, but definitely look for those when you are in the trade post, and make sure. I do run potions of invisibility sometimes that can be useful if you want to, like, you know, pull a rogue, hide in a thing, one shot, hide in a room, one shot people with that, and yeah, can definitely be extremely helpful. Finally, I'm pretty sure I covered most of the merchant stuff. If we go to trade and we go to Warlocks, as I said, what you're looking for is magical healing, and for the most part, you could buy like Bardis to do the one-shot builds, but you don't really need to buy that much stuff. You can buy most of it from the merchants. You know, with a cloak, you're looking for strength or agility again. And yeah, I mean, so once you have enough money to start buying stuff here, I would definitely look for green longswords. They do about 5 more damage than the gray one, and it really stacks up, and you can do a lot of damage. So just look for like green longswords that are worth about 50, even blue longswords. Sometimes those will sell for 50 too. And that's generally what I would buy from the trading post. You actually have better chance in the fighter's barracks for buying the longswords. So yeah, so that should be the loadout, the perks, the spells. Yeah, for Phantomize, sometimes people run Phantomize and Blow of Corruption. It's extremely useful for getting up close to rangers. You know, you can Phantomize up to them, then pull Blow of Corruption, basically one tap them. There's not much counterplay from their part, but I do like the spells more. It just gives you more utility, especially against PvE. And yeah, that should be about it. I have a raid series right now on my channel if you want to go check that out, where I level up a Warlock from level 1 to max level, and we go geared as geared as we can. We go for PvP, it's just solo. We're playing in the Goblin Caves. You know, we'll do fun things sometimes where we'll kill the troll, or you know, fight the giant centipedes. And PvP, PvE, it's a good time. I go through, you know, my thoughts of the dungeon. So if you're looking for full raid gameplay, I will link that in the comments below, so feel free to go check that out. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you want more content like this, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Good luck in your raids this week. Thanks to my channel members, Jed Hastrell, and Professor Oak. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys. Have a great one.